You don't have a face of your own. Since you lacked a face, you were simply able to wear any kind of mask. Makishima. Ouch. What is up, you guys? My name is Jed and welcome to the Minami Kaze Show. In this video, we'll discuss Psycho-Pass Season 1's Episode 5, Nobody Knows Your Face. Let's start with its intro. Akane and Spooky Boogie's relationship have a fallout due to the MWPSB raid at the Commune Field live event. Spooky Boogie, who is now controlled by Mr.Mido, blames the raid for the backlash she is receiving from her fans. After their talk, Kogami requests to analyze their conversation, which was recorded by the MWPSB. I'm sure Kogami will spot something wrong during the conversation recording and realize that it's not the real Spooky Boogie that was actually talking to Akane. The relationship between the enforcers and Akane are already established from previous episodes. One moment that solidified that relationship was when Kogami and Masuoka comforted Akane when they discovered Spooky Boogie's creator deceased. This is the first time that Akane somewhat knew the victim involved in a case. Despite the challenge, Akane continued her work as an inspector professionally. Her professionalism shows her strength in coping to dark moments she encounters. Makishima has high standards of who he is interested in. He provides resources that assist in these people to commit their desired crimes. Makishima does this to get a better understanding of who they are. If he sees that they are obsolete, he'll be quick to get rid of them. He's like a reverse gold digger with a sprinkle of psycho on top. Jinosa opens up to Akane as to why he's so strict about enforcers being different than inspectors. He sends a file that explains why Kogami is an enforcer. This moment builds a relationship to a kinship bond beyond the experienced worker and noob relationship that Jinosa and Akane currently had. The electronic file voices out that Kogami used to be an inspector. Based on his clothes alone, you can kinda guess that he was an inspector, symbolically speaking. Wearing a suit and tie with the top button opened up kinda gives us that feel of someone who used to work in an office overtime, or someone that is working for the love of it without pay, and Kogami pretty much represents that. The storyline makes us reflect about originality versus plagiarism. Originality can only be made from an individual's own work. Plagiarism can only be made from an individual taking other people's works and claiming it as their own. Mr. Mido didn't create his own avatar. Instead, he took 3 existing avatars and perfected their identities that were approved of by their fans. There is no backstory as to why Mr. Mido wanted the 3 avatars other than simply perfecting them. In fact, removing one's individual traits is what it would take for someone who can imitate another person's work perfectly. With no motive or individual personality, Mr. Mido lacked any form of expressing himself as an individual. Makishima mocked Mr. Mido for having an empty, dull personality, a trait that doesn't serve well in creating an original work. Now, to Mr. Mido's defense, I questioned if mastering the roles of the 3 avatars is an original work or not. It is possible that his individual personality is expressed through the avatars, which then equates to originality rather than copying someone else's ideas. If it wasn't, then he wouldn't have the skills to play the roles perfectly. Las Vegas provides tourists every day with New York style pizza and Hawaiian fusion dishes. Since it's Vegas, those delicacies will most likely be made and served with high standard. Authenticity will be questioned if we start advertising Vegas New York pizza or Las Hawaiian fusion food. Where do we draw the line between original work versus copying other people's work? Does originality count if you can take someone else's idea and perfect it, or are you just a perfect copycatter? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd really like to know your thoughts on this topic. On top of being very rich in literature, Makishima proves to be a clever and witty character that can be a challenge for the MWPSB to handle. He has high amounts of resources that ensure his plans are implemented without any disruptions. Strong pain inhibiting drugs exist in Japan. In this first episode, we've seen a criminal take a pain inhibiting drug that was immune against pain from tasing. A pain inhibiting drug that can withstand pain from losing a limb was presented in this episode. It's possible that there are more pain inhibiting drugs that can withstand even more pain for the purpose of evading denominators. Stay tuned for next time on the Minami Kaze Show, where I will review Psycho-Pass Season 1's Episode 6, Return of the Psychotic Prince. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you soon. Peace.